Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ShortSalePowerHour.com. My name's Fred Weaver, and my camouflage business partner, Kevin Kaufman, has joined us today on Short Sale Power Hour as well. We're Group 4610, Arizona's premier short sale team.
Absolutely. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
Glad to be back home?
I'm glad to be wearing shorts again.
And flip-flop?
It was actually kind of warm on the East Coast last week, except the last 2 days we were there. It got cool in the evenings.
The first 2 days kind of walking on the harbor there in Baltimore, it was a little warm. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, thanks to all of our attendees that came out to our class in Baltimore and Pennsylvania last week. Really enjoyed it, had a good time. And while we're talking about it, if you're in Southern California, if you're anywhere in the entire country, you deserve, if you've never been to one of our Crush It Short Sale classes, to show up on November 2nd or 3rd in Southern California to attend Crush It Short Sales. Even if you're not in California, why not go spend time in like San Diego and Irvine? Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, I would say you're certifiably crazy if you don't show up.
Yeah, I mean, props to our friend and viewer Kevin Wilson. Drove 8 hours from South Carolina
all the way up
to attend our class in Baltimore.
Maryland. Yeah. Wow. Kevin, hats off to you, buddy. By the way, it was nice to finally meet you in person.
Yep.
And hats off to you. By far, I mean, we've had people come from other states before, but I don't know that we've had people come from 2 or 3 states away and drive 8 hours. That was a big one. We had a few people there from like Virginia as well, and so Pam and everybody else who came who made another drive. We really appreciated that. That meant a lot to us.
So check out our events page for our upcoming events. So let's dive in. Today's Mindset Monday. Let's jump in.
Oh, this one's
I'm fired up about this one.
We've been talking about this one off camera, and I'm fired up about it too. And Gary Keller's done some teachings on this, and he calls it the power of one.
Yes,
is what he calls it. And you and I want to talk about it. We've said the words, and it's usually us quoting Gary is to have a big life. You've got to work small.
Yes.
Like, think big and work small. Really is what it comes down to. You've got to narrow that focus.
It's about focus. And so often what we find as we teach other agents, as we talk to just people in general. I mean, my mother-in-law, she'll never watch this. I'll use her as an example.
Okay.
Right? Is that okay?
No, that's good, yeah.
And I'm not ripping on anybody, but what I see as I travel around and talk to friends and family and everything else is focus. It showed up last week just talking to my mother-in-law.
Sure.
It shows up in talking to agents that we were teaching in Baltimore and Pennsylvania. This idea that you can be a master of everything at one time.
Yeah, it's just
that you can please everybody, if I can say it that way, at one time. Now, I'm not out to say that your objective should be to tick a bunch of people off in life.
Absolutely not.
I mean, after all, you and I are givers beyond givers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of our time, of our money, resources, you name it. But at the end of the day, I think one of the things that has made us really successful over the past couple of years in our business, and in our life, is utilizing the time that we have and focusing on one thing in that time.
Absolutely. I mean, and we've had to make that focus. A lot of the questions we get, and I am not bragging here, guys. We have a long ways to go in our business, and we've got some future goals that are out of control that we're nowhere near. But one of the reasons why we've gone from not even existing as a team to having closed a few hundred transactions in a short period of time and having an 8 and 9 person team is because you and I have stayed narrowly focused.
Oh yeah, and that's
what we focus our time on.
Let me give some ideas, because people at home may be going, well, I don't know what you mean, how this applies to short sales. I'll give you example number 1. You try to get on Kevin and my calendar before 11 a.m. in the morning, good luck.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen.
Here's another one.
We have one meeting throughout the week that is before 11 o'clock. And the only reason we do that meeting is because it's with our operations manager, and we want to be sharp, and it's about our financials and our business.
Yes.
But every other meeting of our team, people that work directly for us, outside of our team, ALC meetings,
interview new possible team members,
interview new team members, you name it, it's after 11 o'clock.
There's a reason why we don't just go to lunch with everybody who asks to have lunch with us. And I'm not putting anybody down, but the reality is I like to make my lunches shorter. I mean, we do have the occasional lunch meeting, but those are focused.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we need to do this. It's in our 20%.
Absolutely.
We've got to get that done. And, when you start just meeting with people to meet with people, and I'm a people person, so it's really, I would say it's been harder for me in the last couple of years to really go, I can't go spend this time with that person because it's not in my 20%. I have got to stay in that 20% all day long. And if it means that someone thinks I'm, I've heard the quote, too cool for school or whatever, and I can't give my time to somebody just at their request, you know what? I'm okay with that because my business is more important. And I hope your business is more important to you than to just say yes to everybody who requests something from you.
Absolutely, and it goes into short sale negotiations. The power of working on a certain number of files, knowing which ones are priority files for you, knowing which ones you're going to work on at what certain times of the day, and focusing on it. I mean, it's down to everything in your life and your business, but this is short sales, but beyond short sales, really. The successful people that I've looked at in life, and Gary Keller is the greatest example because he's one of the more wealthy, successful, balanced people that I know.
Exactly.
Now, he'll tell you that balance isn't really...
It's a lie.
It's a lie, but he's a master of counterbalance, meaning that, he'll show up at major Keller Williams events and give of himself for 10 and 12 plus hours a day, but then he has no problem shutting it off either and spending several days with his family or going on a vacation and having nothing to do with running a 70,000 person real estate company.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's one of the greatest things I've learned from Gary is that he's got a video, and you could probably find it on YouTube. Maybe we can find it and link it for you below here. But he's got a video of basically, it's a kind of a cartoon kind of video of him and another guy, and they're on this path of life. And the one guy, and Gary picks up one rock, and he basically just runs this path of life. And his stamina's up. He's got a good, consistent pace. He's consistently running it. He's going through all the objects, and he gets to the finish line, and he succeeds at focusing on that one rock.
Yeah.
And then there's this other guy who starts with one rock, and along the path,
picks up
all these other things keep coming at him, and he goes, "Yeah, I can do that." And no big deal. I can hold 2 rocks at a time, and before you know it, he's trying to pile them in his shirt just to get him in there and walk. And
meanwhile, Gary's lapped the guy.
He's finished, and he went back around, picked up another rock, decided to focus on another thing, and he's going through. And it's the power of focus that what's amazing is how our minds can work and how our energy can stay up when we're focused on a thing rather than
all over the place.
I see people that run real estate offices. I see people in all areas of life that are trying to do too much at one time, trying to answer their phone at the same time they're responding to emails, at the same time they're working on files, at the same time that people are coming into their office to interrupt them. And there has to be some structure.
So you know what? This goes out. I know most of our viewers are real estate agents. Some of them are investors. Some of them are mortgage officers, and a plethora of other people in the industry. And in the one single common denominator between you guys and your lack of where you want to be is, I would challenge, is focus. Even for us, the reason why we're not yet where we want to be is because we still need to focus more on where we're going. We need to focus more on what we're doing. And so I'm going to challenge you to really put your focus into your business, into your investing, into your mortgage officer business, whatever it is. I'm going to challenge you today, right now, me to you, Fred to you, that we're challenging you to put more focus around it, become more purposeful about what you're doing day in and day out, and do not let other people and other things become a distraction and stop you from getting what you say that you want.
Absolutely. Help me with this. We'll end with this, okay? There's a quote that Gary uses that essentially says, if there was one thing, and I know you...
If there's one thing you could do such that it would make everything else irrelevant,
everything else in your life
irrelevant, what would it do? It would make it so nothing else matters. What is the one thing you could do more of such that it's so important that nothing else you did would even matter? What is that? And I'll challenge you to think about that for you. What is it? Is it lead generation? Is it negotiations?
What's the one thing essentially that you could go and focus on today that if you put that first and you invested some time in that, it would make everything else in your day and potentially your week and potentially your month and potentially your life easier? I'll say it that way.
Because here's what I've learned. You know what? When you focus when you're that focused on something, things are going to get messy. You're going to tick people off. Some things are going to not be the way you want it to be. And none of that will really matter to you when it's all said and done if you're really going after what you want.
Absolutely. It goes back to the conversation. If you want a big life, you gotta start small and focus small. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. So,
all right, let's wrap it up, man.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Short sale power hour. Short sale power hour. Crush it with focus.